Flu season is here, and it's making quite the impression. I'm Josh Rankin, and I'm going to tell you why this year's flu season might hit closer to home than you may think.
Find out how some new construction makes for some new memories for families here at Mississippi State.
Find out one way how a group of men are supporting women of color during Black History Month. I'm Christian Carr with more information.
A well-known sports writer and broadcaster is facing charges of sexual exploitations of a minor. Welcome to Take 30 News Live. I'm Anna Elizabeth Byes.
And I'm Jared Shields. Take 30's Jarius Carter explains what police say happened and spoke to people who say they thought they knew Scott Walters.
On the surface, people can come off as perfect. Awards and accomplishments can be a shroud to the human perception. But what transpired on November 12th in Horn Lake, Mississippi has changed the perception of a local sports editor image for the worse. Ronald Scott Walters, a two-time NSMA award winner, had just been promoted to head sports editor in early February. But on February 13th, Walters will be charged. Walters now faces charges of sexual exploitation of a minor. His arrest comes on the charges of an outstanding warrant from Horn Lake, Mississippi. Those who knew him from an employee perspective chimed in.
Last semester during the fall, when I was doing a shadowing experience for one of my classes, I decided to do it with the radio station, and because I wanted to go into sports, I did it with them broadcasting Columbus High's football game, the last game of the season. A little more so the fact that would let you think that somebody would do a crime like this, because it's kind of hard to tell unless they just egregious with it, but it's more so the fact of like signs that you could tell that he wasn't right, if you get what I'm saying.
He went and talked to his neighbors to find out more about him.
I've been staying here about 3 years, and I used to always notice him coming out like with little boys, African-American boys, and I used to always think that was kind of weird. My brother and I noticed that pretty much.
Horn Lake Police Captain Joseph Keene says a male victim and his parents reported sexual assault to the police on November 12th of 2018. He says that Walters and the boy met through electronics. We reached out to Walters for a comment on the case. He did not reply. I'm Jarius Carter with Take 30 News.
Walters is out of custody after posting bond at the DeSoto County Jail. Police say a shooting last week on Little Road in West Point led to a drug bust this weekend. Police say they found marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin, which were seized at the location of the shooting. West Point Detective Eric Johnson says the incident is still under investigation.
President Donald Trump's new plan to fund the border wall is met with legal backlash. President Trump announced Friday that he would declare a national emergency to take money from other parts of the government to increase the funds for a wall between Mexico and the United States. This comes after a deal passed by Congress on Thursday allotted $1.375 billion of the $5.7 billion that the president demanded. Now a group of 16 states are challenging the president in court over the plan. This suit claims that President Trump cannot siphon funds for the construction of a border wall because Congress controls government spending. A well-known Democratic contender from the 2016 presidential election has announced another bid for the presidency. Bernie Sanders announced Tuesday that he was launching his 2020 presidential campaign. This marks Sanders' second consecutive attempt to secure the Democratic nomination after losing to Hillary Clinton in 2016. In his announcement video, Sanders said that his campaign focused on creating a government based on the principles of economic, social, racial, and environmental justice. According to sources, Sanders is entering the 2020 race as one of the frontrunners.
Former International Space Station Commander Scott Kelly will be making a stop at Mississippi State. The retired U.S. Navy captain and record-setting astronaut will be speaking as part of the Student Association's Global Lecture Series. Kelly is best known for his milestone of spending 340 days on the ISS, marking the longest space mission by an American astronaut. The event will be held tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in Bettersworth Auditorium in Lee Hall, and it's free and open to the public. Speaking of space, a kid from Memphis is making his mark. While most kids might be spending time playing sports in the band, taking dance lessons, or playing video games, 14-year-old Jackson Oswalt has crafted and completed a nuclear fusion reactor. Experts say he just might be the youngest person in the world to accomplish it. Sources say that Jackson built a steel machine made of vacuums, pumps, and chambers that is capable of smashing atoms together through force in a smoking hot plasma center that releases a burst of fusion energy. This reactor resembles how the stars and the sun are powered. He began working on the machine at 12 years old. He did internet research, bought parts off of eBay, and got to work by making an old playroom into a lab space. He spent between $8,000 to $10,000 with some aid from his parents. While it was a challenge at first, he said that taking things step by step made it like a puzzle that eventually came together. Now don't go away. After the break, we will see how Mississippi State celebrates its diversity.
That and more still to come. You're watching Take 30 News.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most exciting times in a family's life. It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures.
Welcome back to Take 30 News. A new decision was made by the Starkville-Oktibbeha County Consolidated School District Board of Trustees last week. This new amendment will tighten the residential proof policy, which affects new students attending schools within the school district. This means that there could be students who are attending a school right now, and it might allow them to go back to a different school next year.
Celebrating diversity and empowering women, Take 30's Chris Carr shows us how a new event on MSU's campus did just that.
Mississippi State University is known for their agriculture, with over 21,000 students enrolled. But let's talk racial demographics. 16% of African Americans are faculty members, and 20% of students at Mississippi State University were African Americans. During the month of February, one group decides to host a pageant where women of color can showcase their talents and support one another.
Contestants went through a series of events as they displayed their skills, spoke words of encouragement, and competed for Miss Phi Beta Sigma pageant.
The turnout was unpredictable, seeing as though this is the first time we've done this pageant since 2014. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how it did turn out. There were a couple of hiccups throughout the pageant, but you know, that's just happened when it's your first time doing it in a long time.
First, I would like to say I'm overwhelmed, first of all. It was just, I made a great group of girls that I never met before, so it was just a learning experience. What I learned from this is just be yourself through the whole process. Just be yourself. Like, people understand you best, and people know that if you be yourself, they'll accept you for who you are.
The winner received a $500 book scholarship, a crown, trophy, and a chance to compete in the state of Mississippi Miss Phi Beta Sigma pageant. feels good to connect with others, especially if you've just moved into a new place. That's why the Indian Student Association hosted their Maroon Vibes event this weekend. The goal is to connect the students from India with others while maintaining their culture at the same time. The get-together invited all to come out and immerse themselves in the talent show-like performances of each attending member. Parents, grandparents, and kids all made an appearance to celebrate the special day that the Indian Student Association has provided to unite and preserve their heritage.
Once we are out of the country, we will miss our food, and this is a great opportunity to feed food to the people that we treat as the most festive moment in India.
We just would like the Indian students to get familiar with the other students. So for Maroon Vibes, we actually encourage international students as well to perform. And then this is why we usually used to have Maroon Vibes.
This is the 4th year for the program.
When we come back, we will take a look at our Campus Connect forecast.
And still to come, find out how the flu has impacted the state. That and more when we return after the break.
You know the scene in those popular TV crime shows when the investigators show up? The one where they scratch their heads while trying to figure out who committed the homicide and when? At Mississippi State University, we're solving mysteries behind real-life crime scenes with forensic research that's a first of its kind. Teaming with microbiologists from around the country, we're examining microscopic bacteria that can help solve real murders. So far, our partnership with a major metropolitan medical examiner is yielding results with more than 200 real-life crime samples analyzed. We're learning how microbiomes change and relocate, uncovering evidence in criminal investigations by better pinpointing time of death. Way more exciting than being a TV detective. We're finding crucial answers when they're needed most. Solving mysteries with science, that's worth watching. The sense of place. We all have it. Often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back. Let's now take a look at our Campus Connect forecast. We have seen a lot of rain both yesterday and today, and we are expecting to see more rain in the coming days. The high for today is 62 degrees with a low of 42 degrees. Temperatures seem to be warming up, especially looking into the weekend as it will reach the upper 70s. It is currently 57 degrees outside with 100% humidity. We will expect to see a little sunshine near the end of the weekend, but in the meantime, keep your umbrella in hand. Drastic changes in weather can cause big problems for people with allergies, but as Take 30's Josh Rankin shows us, there's a much more serious sickness making the rounds.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of flu, especially the last couple weeks or so. Usually we see a peak this time of the year, so the last few weeks we've seen 50 to 70 patients a week with flu. Now that's just what we've seen in the clinic. That doesn't include people that have been at home and had the flu, but that's a pretty big uptick.
We were doing well until about 2 weeks ago, and then we kind of just had an outburst of it. We've got 72 cases of flu. And most of them are the typical seasonal flu, which is influenza A.
The flu has done more than just come to Mississippi. It's made an impact. Schools in northern Mississippi, like those in north and south tip of the school districts, along with the Tupelo Christian Preparatory School, have had to close due to the number of students absent with the sickness. And within the tip of school districts, that ranges in the 300s. And it seems like your ordinary daytime medicine doesn't work. But closing a few schools isn't all the flu has done to Mississippi.
A
According to a survey developed by the Weather Channel, Mississippi is one of the states that has the highest influenza rates. But there are some steps that you can take to have a healthier flu season. 1. Avoid close contact with people that may be sick. 2. If you are already sick, stay at home and try to get some rest, but also you won't spread your germs to others. 3. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand rubs. 4. Avoid touching your face with your hands. This helps to stop germs from spreading. These are just a few steps. They don't guarantee immunity from the flu, but they will better help you stay flu-free.
For more information on how you can try to stay safe from the flu, visit www.cdc.gov.
The man at the center of one of America's most famous historic photos has died. George Mendoza was known by many as the sailor from the VJ celebration photo that showed him kissing a nurse at the end of World War II. Mendoza's daughter, Sharon Moyer, says he fell and suffered a seizure in the Middletown, Rhode Island assisted living facility where he and his wife resided. Mendoza died just 2 days before his 96th birthday. According to sources, the family has not yet made funeral arrangements. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Take 30 Sports, and later find out how the race for governor is ramping up here in Mississippi.
When you're the best, everyone wants to see what you'll do next. At Mississippi State University, our team of world-class rocket engineers is venturing beyond boundaries, building rockets like none before. We're launching a new era of space exploration. We've developed cutting-edge technology that's helping us build a rocket that can travel at 4 times the speed of sound. Fast? Yes. But more importantly, revolutionary. For you and for a space program that produces many of the conveniences we enjoy today. We're shaping your life in ways you never dreamed. What's next? Watch us and see. We all depend on accurate weather forecasts to plan our day. That's why Mississippi State University is teaching students to forecast the future using real-world news sets as classrooms, putting scientific discoveries in meteorology to the test, while honing on-air reporting skills real-time with local TV stations. And we do it so well that at any given moment across the country, 1 in 3 weather forecasts are being delivered by MSU-trained meteorologists who are helping people make crucial decisions that impact their safety, working to ensure business continuity, and in many cases, saving lives. Predicting the future? That's what we're preparing for every single day, so that you can prepare for your day.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Chris Carr with Take 30 News Sports. For our first story, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Ann Elizabeth.
Thanks so much, Chris. The Bulldogs cranked up their baseball season this past weekend as they swept Youngstown State. It wasn't your typical opening, as the Bulldogs were able to play in the brand new Polk DeMint Stadium. I got to check it out and see how special it was for people to experience it. Thousands are gathering for what is not only the opening of Mississippi State's baseball season, but also the opening of the new Polk DeMint Stadium. Many may see this as a renovation, but Dave Dixon sees it as much more.
I almost teared up watching this because I grew up a State fan. I was a freshman here in 1984 when Will Clark and Rafael Palmeiro were sophomores. So I went to every baseball game. So it's just unbelievable. And that was an old stadium. That was the stadium before the one they tore down 2 years ago. Wooden bleachers. So to open this facility like we have now, I can't even comprehend it.
Dave and his wife Memory are season ticket holders for baseball, basketball, and football. and he says these sporting events are family affairs. They brought their oldest daughter to her first game at a year old. She is now a graduate of MSU, and his other 2 daughters are students. One of his favorite events is the daddy-daughter baseball weekend with Chi Omega sorority.
I mean, it's just a day that we go to the house, we eat lunch, and then we all the dads and all the daughters go to the baseball game. What's so neat about it is I meet all the dads that I was in school with, reconnect, that they have daughters. My friends have daughters that are Chios or whatever sorority or fraternity. So you reconnect with your old friends too. So that's special.
Though Dave has been a loyal fan for many years, he is excited about what the new stadium offers.
You know, before when you walked behind the stadium, you couldn't see, but now it's an open concourse, it's perfect, it's beautiful, and it's going to be a fantastic facility.
While thousands gathered to cheer on the Bulldogs in the new facilities, Dave and his wife were there making new memories. The Dogs pulled out wins in all 3 games. The first 14-3, the second 14-2, and final game 8-0. Now, after a 2-year renovation of the stadium, the weekend was kicked off with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. This was followed by the unveiling of the statues of MSU baseball legends Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark, who both played for the Dogs in the 1980s. What's significant about these statues is that the sculptor, Dr. Rusty Reed, went to school with them both during their time at Mississippi State.
As a student here from 79 to 83, I was actually a student when Rafael and Will played. So I used to come here and watch them hit bat practice, and I came to all the games. So to think back on that and to actually think that I would have been part of this, it's really amazing. And it was hard work, but every second it was worth it. So it was a privilege to do it.
Well, change has come for some Bulldog fans. The left field lounge, which now has a loft, has been an iconic part of Dudy Noble Field since the 1960s. It's even been named as one of the 100 things you gotta do before you graduate by Sports Illustrated. The left field lounge began as people would drive up in their cars, tailgate, and watch the game. It later grew into people bringing grills and creating their own home-built seats. These ranged from wooden seats to old car seats, theater-style chairs, and even chairs built on top of antique cars. With the new renovation to Polk DeMitt Stadium and Dudy Noble Field, it's brought changes to the traditional outfield way of watching. To some, it's brought some concern, but the loyal pledge to Bulldogs still rings true.
Well, I like the old left field lounge because we were some of the originators of it. But time moves on, and we make do. We like our new seats, and we will enjoy it as much as we ever enjoyed it. As much as I would like to take it just as left field lounge, you have to look at the whole facility. I don't think there's a collegiate team in the country that has a facility as nice as this one.
Thank you, Ann Elizabeth. On Saturday, the MSU men's basketball team fought back to a 500 conference record with a win over the Arkansas Razorbacks. 4 Bulldogs scored double-digit points, led by senior Quindary Weatherspoon with 22 points. Freshman Reggie Perry recorded his 6th double-double of the season with 10 rebounds and 12 points. The team's record is now 18-7 overall and 6-6 in SEC play. Although the Dogs secured a win Saturday, a familiar face was missing from the starting lineup. Before the game, the team released a statement saying Nick Weatherspoon had been suspended indefinitely for violating team rules. Weatherspoon did not play, but was on the bench during the game. The university said it will not comment on the situation unless Weatherspoon's status with the team changes. After having their hearts broken by the Missouri Tigers on Valentine's Day, the Lady Bulldogs rebounded with a dominant performance over Texas A&M. Andrea Espinozo Hunter led the team with 24 points. 2 Lady Bulldogs recorded double digits in points and rebounds. Anrielle Howard scored 19 points and totaled 13 rebounds, while Tierra McCowan had 12 points and 10 rebounds. With 1 conference loss on the team's record, the Lady Bulldogs are looking towards a matchup at South Carolina on March 3rd for the SEC Championship. That's it for sports. More Take 30 after the break.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most exciting times in a family's life. It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures.
The Vice President of Concept and Development, Britt Robinson, said 2 restaurants are coming to Starkville. One is Georgia Blue, which is a family-owned restaurant with other locations in Madison, Flowood, Brookhaven, and Brandon. Georgia Blue is also bringing a bakery. Plans for the bakery are for it to be on South Jackson Street in front of the old Mississippi Motors building. Georgia Blue will be located in the building north of the bakery with an open-air courtyard between the two.
In the race for Mississippi governor, Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves Jr. of the Republican Party trails behind in recent polls against Attorney General Jim Hood of the Democratic Party. The poll shows only 3% of black voters supporting Reeves and only 23% of white voters are supporting Hood. Hood is leading Reeves with women and independents, while Reeves is leading with voters over 50. Good night,
everyone.